What's up, everybody? Brandon Bennett again. We're back with another YouTube video. Hopefully you guys have been liking what I've been posting about what we do in the business, how the business works, some of the lifestyle things that we do. Today we're going to be talking about the truth about building a business, the real truth. Okay, not the fake stuff that you want to hear, not the feel-good type of stuff. So by no means am I better than anybody. I've been in business 4.5 years. And no ego involved, all right? I haven't done anything that special. I'm very humbled, very grateful for the position I'm in, being able to mentor, develop, and train people to make life-changing money with the opportunity that we have. So I want to make sure you guys understand none of this is coming from a bad place. But in business, the way to get to where you want to go is you need told the truth, and sometimes the truth always doesn't feel good. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So the first thing I think about when it comes to getting where you want to be in business, actually maybe not even where you want to be, but to get wealthy in business, to get successful in business, to get to a high level. And what you guys also need to know, there's always going to be the 1% of the 1%. All right, so where I would consider, if you're watching this, to be in the 1% is if you wake up every day with a task or you're on a mission to get something completed. Okay, you're driven, you're ambitious, everything you do is done with intention, and that's what I would say would make you a 1%er. Now, then there's a 1% of the 1%. What I think makes you that is you've developed a skill that you're really good at, and it's making you money. Okay, a lot of it. I would say over $200,000-300,000 grand a year. And I'm saying in your 20s. So I'm talking to, my audience is usually younger individuals. So, and then there's the 1% of that 1% and the 1%. So my mentor, all right, his mentors are billionaires. Okay, because he's a multi-millionaire. So there's that 1%, so he's always trying to get better. So that's just one thing I want you guys to keep in mind. But the first thing, again, is sacrifices. So, when I started out in business, there was a lot of people that in my life were like, yeah, like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to miss this to be successful. You're going to burn yourself out, etc. And part of the person that I seen a lot was Andy Frisella, and watching his videos about, him starting a supplement company and about the van he had, how people would make fun of him. His supplement store had like 10 things in it. It was pretty much empty. And looking at where he's now, insane, like the lifestyle he lives, the cars he has, the wealth he has. Not only that, but the mind he has. That's more important than all the money and the fancy stuff. But when you start out again, you're going to have to give up stuff to get where you want to go. So that means you can't live the life you used to live. Okay? You're going to have to miss certain things, like family member parties or get-togethers. Okay? I'm Italian. We have dinner every Sunday at 3 p.m. That's like mandatory my whole life. Like, you go to grandma's for Sunday dinner at 3 p.m. Like, when I started in business, I couldn't go to that anymore. That's a sacrifice I was making for my future self and my future family. So when we eat Sunday dinner at 3 p.m., we have a chef that cooks it, and we just sit there and eat on a massive property in a multi-million-dollar house. That's why I'm making the sacrifices. But you also have to tie your sacrifices to a why. Why are you doing certain things? What do you want? For me, I keep it pretty simple. It's financial freedom for me. That means plenty of things. Not looking at price tags, okay? I don't got to look at the price of anything anymore. Doing what I want pretty much when I want. And also, if you've ever heard the saying, money doesn't buy happiness, that person probably didn't have money. And what I mean by that is it does. I fully believe it does. And a good analogy for that is like money isn't everything, right? They say that too. If you're sick, okay, health-wise, cancers, whatever it is, and you have a lot of money and you're a high worth individual, you're going to go get the best health care versus if you're not going to get the best health care. That stuff matters in my opinion, and it probably should to you. That's why I do all the things that I do now. And if you want to get to the 1%, that first 1%, the first thing you have to do is start to sacrifice things, in my opinion. And you're not going to want to do it. You're going to get hated on. Your family, friends are going to be like, yo, you don't have to do that. You should go be comfortable. Being comfortable gets you nowhere. You have to give up to go up. And what my mentor always says, pay now, play later. So pay the price now while you're young, and you can play later. You can do those things later on in life. And in your 20s, in my opinion, is the best time to lock in and start to do that stuff, because you don't have much time. You know, like you probably always hear people say like, oh, you just graduated high school, college, you have plenty of time. You do, but you don't. And before you know it, you could be 30 with kids and a wife. And it's a lot harder to sacrifice then than it is when you're 20s. I know people in our business and people in my life that, you know, they didn't start till later in life, and I see it because I'm their mentor. I'm helping them, and I see it. They can't sacrifice as much. There's nothing they can do. They have to take care of their family, spend time with their kids, but there's also times where they do have to sacrifice and maybe not do stuff with their kids. And I have a mentor who leads from the front with that. And the life he gives his family, he doesn't get to go to all his son's baseball games, right? That's a sacrifice he's making. He would probably love to go to all his son's baseball games, but sometimes he's spending time with us to grow us as leaders. And that's just what it takes. So those are sacrifices that in my life and what I see in mentorship and in our business. So to finish what I'm saying about sacrifices, the next thing that I think about is the actual time it takes to get good at something. I'm in sales, okay? So the first thing we teach somebody is to master sales. Master the idea, master the skill of sales. What that means is doing absolutely everything to get good at it. So when you wake up, you're thinking about it. You're watching videos on sales. You're listening to people in our business sell insurance recordings of it. And then when you start working, we dial the phones, so you're dialing with intention and purpose. And then during lunch, training, after 9 o'clock. So like, if you want to get good at something fast, by no means is what we do a get rich quick. It's a get rich for sure. You have to be impatient with your action and patient with your results. I'm going to say it again for you guys. You have to be impatient with your actions and patient with your results, okay? And what that means is every day you have to work impatiently. Like, yo, I got to get stuff done, but patient with the results of it coming, which in our business is money and getting things when you're new. Most people come and work with us because of the money we make, and then it turns into more than that. But I would say, in anything, if you go start an HVAC company, you have to master HVAC. You got to know what you're doing, and then you got to learn how to build a team around it. And if you're not doing the correct things, you're going to build a team, and it's going to fall apart one day because people don't have good characters if you're not teaching the right things. You're not developing people the right way. Their mindsets are broken. They're not big in their faith, and I think faith has a lot to do with it and what people do with the Lord, but that's just me personally. But those are the type of sacrifices that I think somebody should be making. Is it's a waking, living, breathing thing in your life. That's all you do. I'm talking to the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. If you want to get there in the 1% of that, this is what it actually takes, is absolutely everything. You're going to think about quitting. Why are you doing this? This is too much. Everybody's going to be in your ear saying, yo, like, you need to, like, chill out. Go take a rest day. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're doubling down. We're about to double our business. So that would be my advice on the sacrifices. Now, to talk about the other thing that I think, holds people back from getting to that 1%, and the truth about it, people always look for the next best thing. So when I seen this opportunity, people were making $4 or $5 grand a week. They weren't making as much money as they are now in our company. And looking back, I was like, that's all it took for me. And there's so many fake things in the world. I live in Miami, so, I see a lot of it, with rented cars and whatever else you want to call it, or rented whatever, rented jewelry, whatever the case is. And you see all these people who sell a course, try day trading, high ticket sales, whatever else is out there. Like, I got a reality check for everybody out there. That shit's all like a short-term thing. All right? Most of the big rich day traders, they sell a course and that's how they make most of their money at the end of the day. And your guys are the ones buying it. So with us and maybe other opportunities out there, like, this is an actual company that's been around 100 years, Fortune 500 company that you can build a life off of. This isn't some fake company where we just started 5 years ago. There's plenty of insurance companies out there that have started recently. They're new. We ain't going anywhere. We've been through a recession, depression, COVID. We've been through it all, and each year we've grown. We just came off a record month last month for the agency. We did, I think, close to $4 million in sales as an agency as a whole. And in life insurance, I mean, that's pretty solid. Like, next year, we're on pace to do $50 million, and then we're going to double up to $100 million. But to be able to work for a company, and the last video I made talks about the residual income aspect of what we do. And it's just, the leadership we have, like, people see where I'm from. When I started this opportunity at Globe Life, it was a bunch of young 20-year-olds making a bunch of money, and everybody was like, yeah, that can't be true. We'll see how last they long. We'll see how long that goes, talking shit. Well, we're still here, and we're still making money. And we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to develop people. We're going to continue to lead people to the Lord. We're going to continue to do it all. So that's why I advise all you guys watching this, if you're not on the team already, you might as well just join us, because we ain't slowing down. We're only going to get bigger. We're only going to get better. And I say that respectfully and humbly to anybody out there. But with all the other things that are out there in the world, and I also talked in my last video about why I think college is pointless unless you're a doctor, lawyer, or something that requires it or you actually need it. But if you're getting into business, you don't need that stuff. It's pretty much just a waste. And with all the other things out there, you got to realize, like, you should take risks, but those things aren't built on anything. There's no foundation. The people there don't care about you. When you come on our team, if you're all in and you're showing signs of all in, and you're putting the required energy and effort in, we will take that serious and mentor you and teach you the game. That's our job. That's what we do here. And the type of people we're around, everybody's pretty much from a small hometown. Nobody comes from a lot of money. That's what the company's built on, is people that were poor growing up. That's why I think the loyalty we have and the bonds we have within our team, nobody else in the industry has. And I know you guys, probably hear that a lot, like nobody has our loyalty, but I truthfully believe nobody has our loyalty and ever will. Shout out Joey and Simon for that. But in teaching the game and raising us to be that way. I always had that shit. That's why I got it tatted. I'm not one of them losers who just got something tatted and actually isn't about it. But I'm loyal to my dogs for sure. Like, you could bet it, take it to the bank, I'm loyal. You know what I'm saying? But, I think with all the other opportunities out there, nobody's actually really down to help you like that. Nobody's actually, willing to go through battles, go through storms with you. And in business, you're going to get hit with bad times, good times, great times, staying even keel. You're going to get hit with all that, and you can only really test somebody's loyalty when their loyalty can be tested. You can't test it when everything's good. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing in business that I think, people jump from opportunity to opportunity to opportunity and think shit's better elsewhere. The grass is greener where you water it. I know some people, think that they take it as like a funny joke, like, no, it's not. There's better opportunities. But like, I feel in my heart that if I went and started a landscaping company, I would run it up, straight up. I would run that thing up, build a team, and we'd be doing millions of dollars in sales within a couple years. Easy. So I don't think the grass is, not greener. I think it is greener where you water it, for sure. And we're blessed to be backed by a company that's been around 100 years, and they know what they're doing, and we're going to continue to grow, continue to get better, and continue to learn. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is stick to one thing. If you want to build a company or build a product and sell it one day, it's going to take you a while to do that. In our business, it doesn't have to take you a while. I mean, there's people in our company that have been here 6 months making 80 grand a month, like straight up, like legit real. We could show you it. You could meet them in person. They could show you it all. And sticking to one thing, you have to realize, again, this is the truth about building a business and a great business and being the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, is if you don't stick to one thing, you're always going to be restarting. You have to know when you start something, it's going to take everything. And if you're bouncing everywhere, going everywhere, doing a bunch of different shit, and not making, again, the first thing I said, the necessary sacrifices, you're always going to be out of the loop with stuff. You're never going to be able to build on top of what you've already done. Because if you do something for 2 years and give up, that's 2 years you lost. Now, maybe you hate it. Maybe it's like a circumstance like, I got to get out of this. It's bad or something, in business with the wrong people. But in our business, I see people quit too soon a lot. And some of the people, they should quit. Okay, now I'm talking about the people that like have the type of personality to be good in sales, but they don't fully buy into it, and they're just like, yeah, that's not for me. And then, they're back working a 9 to 5. So when you stick to one thing, I think, you got to go into it realizing this might take a while. And if you look at anybody rich, anybody great, anybody who's built something special, nobody got it fast. Nobody just built a company in a year and became a billionaire. It took months, years, decades to be good at something and to get that type of money and build a business. Like if you go ask Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, what it took, Mark Zuckerberg, what it took to build that type of stuff, for me, that's where I want to get to one day. That's why, like, Joey Crivelli, my mentor, my best friend, my business partner, that's the type of stuff we want, is that type of success, because there's people out there doing it. Why can't we? They're not better than us. We bleed the same blood. And we know what we have to do and the necessary sacrifices they're going to keep us there. It's not like, oh, we made a lot of money, let's chill out. No, we're doubling down each and every time. And we have mentors to show us and lead from the front that way. And that's why I think one day we'll actually get there on what we're actually building. But we're not jumping from thing to thing. Right now, we're in life insurance for probably the next 20 to 30 years, and then we're going to go build a venture capital firm. That's what we're going to do. That's the game plan we have to reach that type of status and level. But we're in life insurance 100%. There's not anything else going on. We're building our team, building relationships, and building our business right now. So that's what I would say for sticking to one thing. You have to go all in on one thing. If you chase 2 rabbits, you're going to get none. So if you do that, all right, and I think if you go all in, do what you got to do, all the distractions aside, I think you could be successful in really anything. So to show you guys every day, what I keep as a good reminder is on my phone, I have, guess what? If you want it bad enough, you'll always find a way. If you don't want it that bad, you'll find an excuse. It's very simple. So if you dumb things down, I'm very good at dumbing things down and keeping it very simple. And I think in business, that'll help you. Instead of being a complex thinker and being the person that just like see and do, monkey see, monkey do, I would say that instead of overcomplicating everything, doing that, it'll get you to that next level. Because a lot of people are handed certain things and, hey, you got to do this or you should do this. And they start to overthink certain things and procrastinate and not get the job done. So I think that'll help you in business. And at the end of the day, even I'm a victim of it, making excuses. If you look at yourself and say, what did I make an excuse about today that I didn't get done? What did I procrastinate? And there's always got to be something you didn't do good during your day. Nobody's perfect in this world. So if you nitpick and you're not going to be perfect, but I'm talking business, and this is, again, the truth about building a business, everything matters. Because if you're in leadership, your people are watching you, you need to lead from the front. And if you want something bad enough, you'll do anything to have it. You'll do absolutely everything. If someone told me 5 years ago, thank God we didn't have to do this, but you got to sleep on the floor in the cold for 30 days and you'll make $1 million in 5 years, I'd have did it. I swear to God, I would have did that. And that's for me, like, most people out there aren't willing to do everything that it takes. Like, ask yourself, are you willing to do absolutely everything it takes? The answer to that's probably no. And I'm fortunate and blessed to be around a loyal group of mentors that been through the storms that we got to see, been loyal together. They were able to lead from the front and teach us. I got it tatted on me. I'm not like one of those people got it tatted for no reason. You could test me and see if I am. But I would say all in all, to get to that 1%, the real truth about business is you ain't going to be comfortable doing it. You're going to be doing stuff you don't want to do. You're going to get hated on. People around you are going to tell you to take breaks. You need to do this. You need to slow down. You're going to burn yourself out. That's all bullshit at the end of the day. And that's an excuse to not get to where you want to be. And the best time to do it's now. The best time to make the sacrifices now. The price is the price. All right, you ain't getting greatness for sale. You got to pay the price. That's one of my favorite lines, is it ain't on a discount. This isn't Goodwill. All right, you got to pay the price of what it is. To get where you want to go, you got to give up that old person. All right, give up to go up. And at the end of the day, you got to want something bad enough to get there. If you don't want it bad enough, you might say you want it bad enough, but you got to do the things to get you there. All right, don't bluff. But I appreciate everybody. If you tuned in this long, I really appreciate you guys hearing me out on the value that I have to offer you guys. If you are interested in joining the team, Virtual Life Insurance Sales, team just had a record month. We're only growing. We're only going to keep doubling. Instagram, Brandon.Bennett1, DM me on there. And if you're in the business watching this, all right, now's the time to double down. Now's the time to put yourself in a position where you want to be and get yourself recognized and noticed. But all in all, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, show some love, and we'll see you guys soon.